We are going to be starting with the assault maps. On Hanamura, this is a spot popularized by the REINHARDT Eichenwalde. You just hang out on this ledge and pin through the window, you reach the enemy spawn, and your earth shatter can travel from the bottom up past the top of the stairs. On Temple, place your crosshair by here, below this sus looking mark, pin towards the enemy high ground. By holding space at the end of your jump, the momentum will carry you up onto this platform and surprise the enemy team.
Ask your team nicely not to break this rail and you'll be able to jump charge into this wall to cross this gap. Normally you would need the Lucio to cross this gap, but you can do it alone by walking on the edge of this platform and doing a diagonal jump charge. You patiently wait your turn for a moving platform, hop on, wait to pin through this window to catch the red losers off guard. This last spot actually requires 2 charges, although you can ask one of your friendly DPS players to swap to Symmetra and then they can teleport you up here to save you some time. This one is for when you want to dive but don't want to play monkey. Jump up to this spot, line up the tree and window, and 3, 2, 1, go.
You don't have a lot of time on the setup phase to use this spot, so you'll probably only get one chance. The difficult part is balancing on the dish. As soon as you stop moving, count to 3, and on 4 you'll charge and utilize the bounce for extra height. Normally you land here. If you still want to go to the spawn, just jump on this crown and charge over. This is a good time to utilize Liam's charge from Karq's video to get back to your team when they start accusing you of throwing. Another spot requires you to jump onto this fence, move right towards the wall, aim with the roof and bounce off the high part of this fence. You'll slide straight over and catch them off guard with a B-hop shadow.
On Dorado, walk up to these small stairs, line up this tree and window, strafe left when you hit the tree and claim this high ground like Tarzan would. By taking these stairs to the high ground, you can pin across the ledge and if you're lucky, you might catch a sniper. This jump is a little difficult, but you can use it to get over to the other high ground.
On Havana, you might be struggling to get over this bridge for all the damage, so you can climb up on top of these bricks right to the top, pin over this gap, and then just do what comes naturally. On Rialto, you can take this alternative route to point. Just walk up these stairs and quickly jump on this ledge, pin over the canal, and maybe you'll catch a flanker or the tank.
Charge and bounce on this fence. That way you can deal with the enemy yourself. If you want to do it in the opposite direction, jump over the cactus onto this rock. This is a bounce spot, so charge after 3 seconds to get enough height to get back over to Big Earl's.
Walk out to the left side of these doors, pin straight across the platform and start strafing left. Hold space and you should be able to get on top of this pickup truck. On Second Point Blizzard World, you can charge up these rocks onto this pipe. Using the correct spot, you can shatter down the rocks into the enemy before they know what's hit them. You can also get you from this direction, just jump onto the sign and pin straight over. If you need to clear this small high ground, just jump on these boxes and pin up this rock.
On Eichenwalde, use this position on castle to charge straight over to the bridge. You can charge here and bounce off these rocks for an easy flank to the high ground. On Hollywood, walk onto the ramp and then use the edge of this building to bounce charge over onto the jail. If you want to clear first point high ground, go up the elevator and jump charge off the roof. Pin here to bounce off this spike to land on the hotel roof. Use this spot to fire strike spawn or let your snipers take some safe shots. On Numbani, after you've won the point, tuck into this spot. Aim at this line, charge and keep pressing left. Hold jump for quick access to the high ground.
Starting with Nepal Village, find the highest plank of wood on this bridge and jump onto this wall. Step to the right to bounce off this spike and pin over the roof. You can do the same on the left side of the spike. This will send you way further into the enemy territory. On this side of point, if you're being pushed back and you don't want to die, just charge up this slope, and just hide on this roof until it's safe to come back down. On Sanctum, a safe cliff charge would be to step right on these drawers, pin straight, and just take them off the edge. This can be done on both sides. Again, just jump on the drawers, step to the side, and pin straight. And don't forget to wave goodbye. On Shrine, I couldn't find any new charges. The spots found by Liam on Karq's video is still useful. I will show you something you can show your Zarya, just so they can follow you on either high ground.
On Busan Downtown, there isn't anything new, but because you are a star, make sure to put your back against the wall, charge down this red carpet past the paparazzi, and hold space for an A-list shot at a point. Now that I've shattered your expectations, to make up for the lack of charges on Busan Downtown, I'll show you some bonus charges on Meka base. Jump onto this orange flashing thing, aim where the structures meet, and then after hitting the ramp, strafe to hit the choke. Another spot here is waiting for the RNG walls to come up. Once they're up, pin off this railing to bounce off the wall towards the choke. You can do the exact same thing on the other side. On Sanctuary, go under the doorway, then charge the right side of the barrel frame. Hold jump to propel up it. Stand under the doorway and charge towards the barrel. This time, go up to the right side of the frame instead. And once again, you're king of the barrel.
Now we have Lijiang come up this right side door and pin over to the enemy spawn and shatter into their team. You can do this on the other side. Just make sure when you shatter you're aiming at this bench just so it can climb over the wall. It is not uncommon to race the enemy team to night market by using a symmetric teleporter. If you did win the fight, consider charging over this roof to meet the enemy at the choke point before they teleport or push through. And again, this does work both sides. On Garden, you can climb up these rocks to get in position for a sneaky shadow. But just in case they go bridge instead, you can pin up this roof and straight over back to the bridge. Again, you can do the same thing on the opposite side. Instead of going through White Room, you can jump onto this rock and pin over to point. This does work on both sides. You just need to jump on a different part of the rock. This is a bit risky, but you can charge over the gap. Just use the engraving in the floor as a marker, and as soon as you leave the platform, just start strafing right.
On Oasis University, as Rhine, sometimes you play footsie with the enemy around this hole. Just know that at any point, you can always charge over the hole without falling in. On Oasis Gardens, on the high ground, if your team die due to being booped off the map by Lucio, you normally survive, because you're thick. To not feed any more ult charge, you can charge back from the high ground back towards spawn. You can do it on either side and even take some ult charge back to spawn for your own team. On Oasis City Centre, we'll just show you that if you're ever near the highway, it's always safe to charge along the road, as long as you go straight after a car has passed.
And finally, we have Ilios. On Ruins, you can walk up to this high ground and use the scaffolding as a ramp to pin into the sniper spot. Again, this does work on both sides. Just keep holding forward and mash jump to get up this slidey slope, and then use the scaffolding as a ramp to get to the Widow. On Well, you can sneak to the outside of the map, climb up this slope, and pin to the enemy high ground. The same works on the other side. And finally, on Lighthouse, this is our last map of the guide, so it's only fitting we show our craziest spot. Just jump onto this railing, wait 4 seconds, charge and bounce off this tree, and you've secured the high ground you never thought you'd secure as REINHARDT. And consider dropping through this window like Batman for a flank shadow. The hard part is balancing on this rail long enough to get a bounce. It is a little bit RNG on whether you'll just start sliding or if you'll stay still long enough to be bounced into the air. You can also use it to get on this little railing above the doors. Just push up this slope and then charge, and you'll be able to enter the enemy spawn. You can also do a similar thing on this railing. Just jump up, stay still long enough to get a 4-second bounce, and then pin onto the high ground. I don't know what you're going to do up here, but I'm sure you think of something. It is possible to get onto the enemy roof on this side, but this railing's a little more RNG and harder to balance. Sometimes you miss. Again, it is more difficult on this side. The railing doesn't seem to keep you still long enough to get a bounce, so you'll end up spending quite a while here, but it is definitely possible. Also, if you just hold down forward, you do get an easier bounce to take you onto this railing. And again, just push yourself up this slope, charge, and find yourself in the enemy spawn. And well, that's all the spots for me today. Hope you learned something new.
Hope you had fun, and remember, don't throw any games by not practicing these spots.
Yep, some of these spots do require a little RNG and a little luck, so I'm not going to say practice makes perfect, but I will say practice makes possible.